Repressions, human rights violations, forced labor, absence of democracy, and totalitarian dictatorship. Sounds shocking, right? But you know what else is shocking? The fact that millions of people willingly supported and promoted this regime by themselves. And yes, today we're gonna talk about Nazi Germany as a dark reality of Hitler's rule. How did Hitler, the failed artist, become the most well-known dictator of all time? And did he actually do it legally? Let's find it out. Here is Hitler's journey, and we are gonna dive into it looking at all events that led to the emergence of authoritarian state in Germany. First, let's go to the past, more exactly 1919, when the Treaty of Versailles was signed. Here is the Treaty of Versailles. Looking at it, you may have a feeling that it's harsh. Germany not only had to pay huge reparations to the Allies, but it also had to do it without some of its territories that had massive resources. Moreover, Germany had to reduce its army, hence being insecure. But the most devastating term of the treaty was 231, that forced Germany to accept the responsibility for causing all the loss and damage of World War II. The Weimar government that signed the treaty immediately lost its support. People blamed government believing that by signing this treaty the state stabbed in back Germans. But here is Hitler. Here is a person who is portrayed as a savior of Germany, who wants to reverse the terms of Versailles Treaty, who wants to restore Germany's economy and greatness. Hitler was a dictator. Hitler was the most charismatically attractive candidate among others. And mainly, he shared same beliefs as others, believing that those who signed the treaty are November criminals. 4 years later, Hitler has started to take his own actions. Here comes Munich Push. Hitler, being inspired by March on Rome of Mussolini, tried to implement the same march, but in Germany. However, his first and ultimately the last attempt to overthrow current state has failed. Instead, Hitler was overthrown to jail, where he wrote a book named Mein Kampf that has helped Hitler to identify his ideology. In his book, he expressed his hatred of Jews, as well as desire to achieve a destiny of Germany being a great empire. 9 months later, Hitler was released, and a new stage of his journey has started. Another notable date is 1929, when the Great Depression has happened. Great Depression moved the USA's economy, ultimately collapsing it. But how did it affect Germany then? The matter is that Germany massively depended on USA loans and resources, and without them, Germany faced another economical collapse of the decade. Unemployment rised, factories shuttered down, banks failed, starvation became common on a daily basis. In such conditions, extremism rose, and people started to hate current government to a high extent. But there is light on the horizon, more exactly, red light on the flag of the Nazi Party with Hitler in rule. Nazi Party promised to fix all economical problems, including reduction of unemployment rate. And they took the bait. The Germans actually believed this and began to support the Nazi Party. The votes for Nazi Party increased massively in 1932 and 1933. Let's go to these years. 1933, it's February, and it should be cold, right? But not in Reichstag. The Reichstag building was set on fire, and yes, Nazi Party and Hitler decided to exploit it, saying that it was perpetrated by communists. Soon, communists were banned, and Nazi got rid of its main opponent. But you know what else happened soon? Freedom of speech? Gone. Freedom of press? Gone. Any opposition? Gone. In a few days, democratic Germany turned into an authoritarian state with Hitler in rule. And that was because of unfortunate Article 48, which allowed Hitler to implement Enabling Act and to take whole power and rule. And here Hitler finishes his way of getting authority, and it's time to consolidate his power.